This is reposted.
Today's quote comes from a British historian, academic, GM Trevelyan. I saw this and I thought about you because I think of you and your family as walkers. He says, after a day's walk, everything has twice its usual value. I feel like this guy was before his time. He was born in 1904. He lived to be 86. You like walking, don't you?
Yeah, I could not really figure out this dude. I'm sure he's a pretty famous historian from people who are historians, but nevertheless, of course, I love this quote about walking. Like everybody should be walking.
Mm-hmm. I remember you were telling me a couple weeks ago you guys did like a 14-mile hike. I get it wrong every time. How far did y'all go?
We did 15 miles, the Dipsy Trail, one of the most famous, iconic hikes here in the Bay Area. Number one about walking is like just this. You widen your vision. I think a lot of us literally are sitting looking at computers all day long. Think of the original man sitting on the Serengeti. All he saw was space all around, basically so that he could see a tiger leaping up on him to eat him. Just, I think our eyes were intended to view the horizon, to have a wide vision. And I think that's just like what happens when you go outside and get on a walk.
I think there's so many levels to it. There's the barrier that you have to cross to even put on your shoes and go outside. Like you achieve that hurdle. That's kind of like what I do where I make my bed every day. If I start with a completed task, like it's going to be better. That's positive. You have the physiological part that's positive. It gets you not thinking about whatever you're doing. You focus on other things. And I think it gives you a better perspective. Do you guys have a plan with your family on going on lots of walks, or is that just you like San Francisco and you want to see it?
Well, the funny thing about our walks is we don't own our home. I think most people, like on a Saturday or Sunday, like all day long. My dad tinkered around the house, mowed the lawn, worked in the garden, build this, think this. Most people that have homes do that. We live in an apartment in San Francisco. I don't have to do anything around the house. Like I have no responsibilities. So basically all day long, if we don't have a soccer game or something, we have it free. So it's like, what else are we going to do to kill time other than like going a long walk? That's really kind of the genesis for it.
I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like if you came into money, bought the house of your dreams, you would still do walks though.
Yeah, but I think I'd do them less because, I've definitely thought about being able to own a home. I don't think that's going to happen, but I would love to tinker. I'd love to make benches. I would love to do that kind of creative stuff. So I don't think walking's leaving us, but I do think a lot of it is we just have a lot of time on the weekend. And so it's like, hey, what are we going to do for 4 hours? Oh, we're going to go walk. And certainly living in San Francisco helps. Our kids are living in an apartment, so it's a small space, so they got to go out and burn their juju off.
Mm.
And I mean, mainly I do. I mean, I think the number one thing for walking and exercising for me is that it just kind of calms my brain. There's all sorts of research out there that says like exercising and working out kind of replenishes these positive neurons and cools down the hot neurons so that your brain is better to react what's going on you. So I totally think that's what walking does for me.
I agree with everything you just said. I'm curious what a hot neuron is.
It's that's a technical term that we use in the business area.
I noticed something at the beginning of the pandemic. Nicole and I we started going on walks more. We'd go at like 6 a.m. And for us, it would be like a time to just like recap or decompress. And probably the first 6 weeks was me giving her updates on the pandemic and what the numbers are and just time to talk about it. I think it also, whether it's by yourself or with other people, it gives you the opportunity to like just talk or think. And if you're at home, you're like, oh, I got this TV show I want to watch. I got these dishes I got to do. I got this homework I got to do. And when you're walking, there's not really anything else you can do other than not get hit by a car.
Certainly captive audience when you're walking. I love that. And the captive audience can be yourself, right? To kind of process thinking things. And also if you're with somebody, right? They're stuck. My family, we always have great conversations walking. When you said you're with Nicole, you have a captive audience for sure. That's absolutely part of it.
Yeah. I think one last thing about this is you get a feeling of accomplishment every time you go out for a walk. Like even if you're walking around the block or if you're going on a 10-mile hike, there's some sense of accomplishment. And I think there's like an unwritten camaraderie with other people that are walking. Like I smile to them and like, hey, you get it.
Unwritten camaraderie. Two things, my final thoughts. Number one, if you go on a walk and pay attention to little tiny details, you will always notice something new. I know I say that and live in San Francisco. There's always something new to look at, but I guarantee if you take the time to visualize and really look at all that you're walking around, you'll find something new, and it could be interesting. The last thing, and a lot of research on this about walking, is that it helps your posture. Like your posture literally straightens out when it comes to walking. And they've been noticing an uptick in dental procedures during the pandemic. A lot of teeth are cracking. And one of the reasons is because we're all at home and we're slouched all the time. And it's actually due to our posture that our teeth, because it's connected to the spine, are having so many issues. So they're saying if you just went on a walk, kind of closing this out, you'd have better teeth and less problems.
So the song famously goes, the knee bone's connected to the ankle bone.
Yeah.
The canine tooth is connected to vertebrae C3.
I didn't even get to the spiritual part of walking. We'll have to do it again.
If you have a feeling that you need looked at, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for The Dentist on Little Shop of Horrors saying, thanks for stopping by.